Hi everyone. It's been a really long time since I went live. As you guys know, our family has been dealing with things that are just beyond even imaginable. And I'm going to be honest with you. Today has been just a rough day. I wanted to kind of give you guys a little bit of a back story on Aria and what she's been through, because I know a lot of people have been asking me a lot of questions, and just kind of putting it out there, because the biggest thing to me with the battles that Aria deals with every single day is being able to spread awareness when it comes to this, because what's most important to me is that other people and other parents don't have to struggle like we've struggled with the unknown for so long, because it's so incredibly draining having no answers and not being able to understand what is going on. Of course, I told myself I wasn't going to break down, but this has just been really rough. So, okay. At about 4 months old, I was changing Aria's diaper, and I noticed that she had some sort of eye roll thing that she would do. And when she hit 6 months and she had her 6-month appointment, I asked her pediatrician if it was possible, my mom was calling me, of course, if it was possible that it could be something. And they basically said to me that it's probably a tick. You know, kids grow out of ticks. Don't be alarmed. A lot of ticks happen when babies are really young, and it's probably nothing. So I chose to believe that, even though in the back of my mind, I feel like I knew at 4 months old, like between 4 and 6 months old, that something wasn't right. There were periods in time where she would have these like stares where her eyes just didn't look right, and I always thought something, in the back of my mind, I always thought something was wrong. Then we got to about a year old, and, you know, Caden talked really early. He never stopped talking. I mean, the kid could say refrigerator at like 13, 14 months old. Like, he had zero development or any issues whatsoever with speech, with anything. And so I just kind of, chalked it up to that Aria was a different kid. All kids are different. All kids learn differently. And I just, at her 1-year appointment, mentioned the eye roll again. I said, she has trouble sleeping at night. She doesn't sleep through the night still at a year old. And sometimes she wakes up screaming for no reason, and I don't know why. And, she's having this eye roll, and still nobody listened to me, unfortunately. I was told again that it was a tick. She would grow out of it by 2.5. It should be completely gone. Well, 2.5 came around, or 2, and same thing. I mentioned it every single year since she was a baby, this eye roll thing, and nobody would listen to me. And then out of the blue, it was on Easter of this past year, and she was outside with my sister and her husband and Caden, and a couple kids that were in the neighborhood, and they had been kind of running around, and she had a lot of chocolate because it was a holiday. It was Easter, and obviously she was eating whatever she wanted, and, yeah. So randomly, she had a falling over seizure in the yard where she just kind of lost balance and fell to the ground. And my sister came inside, and she just said, I really think something is wrong. And I thought something was wrong too, because I had been seeing her kind of stare off into space a lot more, noticing her eyes rolling in back of her head with no explanation, saying like, Aria, Aria, and having nobody be home for like 3 to 6 seconds. And I was like, you know what? I'm taking her into the doctor. I am getting answers. I am sick and tired of suffering. I am sick of wondering. I am sick of feeling the way I feel and knowing that something is wrong and not being able to have those answers that I needed for my daughter. And, Aria was a late talker. She talked, she would say a few words here and there, but she didn't really form sentences until kind of recently, and she still struggles. Like, you can't fully understand what she's saying. I mean, I guess a lot of 3, almost 4-year-olds, you can't really understand what they're saying completely, but I don't know if this could be associated to what she's dealing with now. I mean, we really just know nothing at this point. So anyways, back to what I was saying. So I took her to the doctor, and immediately she sat and he took out like some light and shined it in her eyes and like did some things. And thankfully, while we were at the doctor, she had an absent seizure right in front of him. And this was the first time that I looked at her and him and I just said, we need to do an EEG. Like, I just can't, I can't be wondering constantly if there's something wrong with my child, something wrong with her brain, something wrong with her developmentally. Like, we need to do something. So we went to Children's Medical for what we refer to as now a princess nap. We call it a princess nap because all the stickers that they put on her head for her EEG are different colors, and we let her bring her princess bunny with her, which is a bunny that she built at Build-A-Bear with Brian and I. So it's very special to her, and she always says, Princess Bunny keeps me safe. So we always let her bring her with her, and we call it a princess nap. And every time she has to go for a different test or procedure or whatever, we tell her it's a princess thing, and that seems to lessen her anxiety and stress going into it and just make her more grounded to where she can focus on what she needs to do. So we took her in, they did the EEG. It was about a 35-minute thing where she actually went to sleep and they monitored her seizure activity. And afterwards, it was about maybe 4 or 5 days that we waited for, no, actually I don't even think it was that long, maybe like 2 or 3 days that we waited for the results. And I went into neurology, I think it was a Tuesday morning, and I remember sitting in the chair and just wondering and thinking to myself, I just knew in my gut that she had epilepsy. I knew in my gut that something wasn't right. I knew in my gut that I had seen this happening since she was a baby. And sure enough, her neurologist came in the room and he handed me a tissue and he said, we picked up quite a lot of seizure activity during her EEG, and your daughter has epilepsy. And I remember hearing that and still feeling like, yes, she has epilepsy, she does, but something is still not right. And I mean, kids have epilepsy, and it's terrifying as a parent to know that your child is battling their brain every single day, and it's out of your control because, with everything that Aria has, it's out of her control. And if I could take a magic wand and cure and wave it and have all these children who are dealing on a day-to-day basis with this, just have them all magically not have to deal with it, I would. Because, I literally cannot imagine what my daughter deals with on a day-to-day basis, all the time. And, there came a point in time where I was fed up and I said, you know what? I need answers. Like, I need some solid answers. And so that morning, I actually am fortunate because I have incredible best friends who, you know, just all met me at one of my best friend's houses just to give me a hug because they knew that I needed it that day. And that was the day that changed everything. I found out that Aria had epilepsy and that she was going to be put on medication. And then the journey continues. We battled medication for months. I mean, you trade seizures for a side effect. That's virtually what medication is for children. I mean, these children are dealing with so much on a day-to-day basis, and then you throw them on these medications, and that now they're dealing with a side effect, and it might not even be helping their epilepsy. And that's what happened with Aria for, you know, for a long time, is she was battling those different medications, and finally we found one, and I call it our saving grace, and it's called Onfi, and she takes it twice a day. And she does have a few side effects from it for sure. And to be honest with you, it has not completely eliminated her seizures at all. But when Aria first was diagnosed with epilepsy, she was having up to 100 seizures a day. And some of them were so small that if you didn't know her, you wouldn't even be able to tell. And that's the scary part is, you know, these things can be going on, and us as parents, like, some people aren't diagnosed with these things until they're in school and a teacher is with them teaching them, and then that's when they realize, wow, you know, something isn't right. But I was with her all the time, 24/7, and just knew in my gut that something wasn't right. So we started going to neurology at Children's Medical, and then we ended up, it was like last month, I started Googling, which I hate Google, guys, because it's evil. Like, Google is evil, because you can Google anything and it's going to give you something that you're not going to want to read. And that's just the truth. I started Googling, and I actually stumbled upon an article about GLUT1, which is what Aria happens to have. And I sent it to my mom in a text message, and I just said, sorry, my dog's going crazy. Candy, come, stop. I think the cat actually just attacked her. Stop, sit. And I just stumbled upon this article, and something in my gut, I just realized in that moment that whatever's going on with Aria is genetic. It's something to do with genes. It's something to do with that. And I kind of knew from day one, because in my gut, I always knew that it was something genetic. Don't ask me why. Call it mother's intuition. Whatever it is, I just had this strong feeling. So my husband and I and Aria, we submitted genetic testing, and we waited because, guys, the genetic testing takes like 8 weeks or more to get the results. So it's rough. Like, you do the testing and you don't get the answers for 8 weeks. So we went in, we saw her neurologist. I mentioned the possibility of this, and he basically said, by what you're saying, you know, she doesn't fall into all the categories of it. You see, with GLUT1, a lot of the kids have movement disability, and they struggle a lot more in other ways than Aria does. She definitely has the seizures and the brain fog and all of that stuff, but she doesn't have some of the other things. So he basically said to me, you know, if her genetic testing comes back normal, then at least we're ruling it out, or there's only a 7% chance of her having it. So what ended up happening, guys, is her genetic testing came back normal, okay? But I continued pushing, because even though we got normal genetic testing, something did not seem right. And I kept mentioning this to her neurologist and saying, you know, could it possibly be this? And he was like, well, with her genetic testing being normal, there's only a 7% chance that she could have this. And sure enough, so that's when we did the lumbar puncture, which was last week. That's when they sedate your child and they take a sample of spinal fluid and they test it and they check your glucose levels and the blood in the sample and the fluid itself, and they give you the results. And when we got the results back, Aria's CSF blood or glucose level was low, and that's how they know that she does actually have GLUT1. So GLUT1 is a deficiency syndrome, and what that means is, in someone like you or I, when we have sugar, it goes through our spine, and it's like the way it's absorbed, right? With someone like Aria, it's not the same. The glucose doesn't signal her brain for energy. Instead, it harms her because her glucose levels will be low, which then sends not enough energy to her brain, which puts her in this constant brain fog all day long and causes these seizures and causes all the things that she has going on developmentally as well. So the next step for her is to put her on a ketogenic diet. It's actually a very strict, so I know I've been talking about keto, which I swear things get sent to you in your life for a reason, and I would have never started the keto diet or known anything about it if it wasn't for It Works, if it wasn't for the keto coffee coming out when it did, and Brian and I actually trying it. And I do feel like as a parent, I have a leg up when it comes to a child who now, in order to live a good life, is going to need a ketogenic modified Atkins diet. I feel like I have a leg up because I already know so much about it. Now, the version of the diet that Aria has to do is not the same version of a diet that someone or you or I does. It's much stricter. Everything has to be measured. There's a 3-to-1 ratio when it comes to fat. And it's a lot more strict, guys, than anything. So she has to have a dietitian, a nutritionist, and be placed on the keto diet in a way that they see fit for her. And then we just wait and see. We wait and see if it helps with the seizures, if things start getting easier for her, if her developmental delays, her cognitive delays get any better, and what kind of happens for her, and I think today has been a rough day because that's what scares me. The unknown is so terrifying, right? And we choose every single day to wake up and see each day as a new day. And with Aria, the way she is, I try my hardest to wake up every single day positive, ready to fight, ready to deal with whatever the day has coming. But there are times when I break down. I mean, I'm only human, and everybody is only human, and sometimes people are fighting these battles in their life, and you don't even know on social media that they're fighting these battles. So I've actually come to a place in my life where I have not been for a long time, which is where I have turned to a higher power and instilled that faith in myself that I haven't had in a really long time. I am understanding that God doesn't give you more than you can handle, that God is not going to give my child more than she can handle, and that Aria has been placed on this path, and she has GLUT1, a GLUT1 deficiency syndrome, because that is what she was meant to have, and this was meant to be in our lives, and that God wouldn't have given Brian and I a child with this journey if he didn't know that we can handle it. And I just wanted to come and kind of say that to anybody who does feel like they're struggling, anybody who does feel, like, why me? Why my life? Why is this happening to me at this time? As a parent of somebody who struggles every single day battling their brain, and, someone could look at my daughter and think, oh my God, she's just completely normal. She's just a kid, that's what she is. But the reality of the situation is that she is tired, she is drained, she has a brain fog. She says her eyes hurt at least once an hour. She is just, fighting all the time, and anything I can do to help her ease that pain and that fight, I will do for her. And so I just wanted to come and kind of share a little bit about it. It's been really rough, and now we're actually going to be doing even further genetic testing because I want something that specifically says that gene on it. I want to know that that is 100% what it is. I've done enough research to know that it is something that can be misdiagnosed as well based on glucose levels. So I just want that 100% knowledge of knowing exactly what she's dealing with so that we can move forward. And I think doing the ketogenic diet, getting her to see a nutritionist, and having a better understanding of what she deals with on a day-to-day basis is definitely going to get her there and get us there as a family, and knowing what ways we can help her cope and what ways we can help her live the life that she deserves to live. And it's kind of what I wanted to come and say. And I know I haven't been live in a really long time. I've definitely put my business on the back burner because family comes first. And, you know, that doesn't mean I don't use my It Works products every single day, because I do. But this has just been weighing so heavy on me and holding me down. And, you know, as relieving as it is to have answers, it's also frustrating because, you know, now I see the battle. Now I see what can potentially happen. Now I have to live with the unknown. And that's terrifying too. So just wanted to come and share that. I hope everybody is having a good day. And like I said, I really hope this reaches someone who maybe has a child who is struggling with epilepsy and doesn't have any answers. You know, we would have never known that Aria had this if we hadn't have done the lumbar puncture, which we decided to do even knowing there was only a 7% chance that it could give us any answers. Well, it just so happened that Aria fell into that 7%, and it's wild to think that, you know, that you could have completely normal genetic testing, but then do a test like this and get answers, you know. So, like I said, I hope that this helps somebody, and just know that God doesn't give you more than you can handle in your life, and everything is done through Christ who gives us strength. And hang in there and believe, and know that even when you're dealing with the storm, there's always going to be that rainbow at some point. So stay positive and be kind to people, and remember that you never know what kind of battle someone is facing. Someone would look at me and they would never know, you know, and that's the truth. But everybody has things in their life that they deal with and they face that no one else knows about. So this is for those people who do have that. And I love you all. I care about everybody on here, and thank you so much for all the love, the prayers, the support that everyone has given me for Aria, because she feels it too. So have a good day, guys. Thanks for watching.